In pop culture, at least, we see women being sexualized and naked all the time. Boobs, right? Boobs all the time. I did hear, though, on the last season of White Lotus, there was a wiener. I might have to check this out. It's very rare. It's a rare occurrence. Do you remember Forgetting Sarah Marshall? There was a split second where you saw dick, and I was like, what? Pause. Back in the 1950s, it was only men who had bachelor parties. Bachelorette parties? Not a thing yet. In those days, women would have bridal showers, and men would, have their moment to go out and have a wild night. But by the 70s, feminism was going strong. Women were feeling a little more liberated. They wanted equality. And of course that meant that we wanted bachelorette parties. We wanted to have fun like the guys were having. I want to go out and be wild. And this story is really about a few guys just being in the right place at the right time. Because they started something over in Los Angeles that overlapped with the rise of porn and female empowerment. Because, if you're gonna have a bachelorette party, just like the guys do, what do you need? Booze, penis straws, and knock, 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 knock. Hello, I'm here to arrest you. Has that ever happened to you where someone knocks at the door and they come in and they're like, I'm here to arrest the woman who's getting married? Or no, it was just the real cops and it was just a raid and you're like, oh shit. So it's the 60s. Girl power, all the rage. Burning the bras, we're doing it. Growing our hair legs, we love it. And this is when an Indian man named Somen Banerjee moves to Los Angeles. Once he got to America, Somen decided to go by Steve. So that's what we're gonna call him. According to our expert, this was because Steve didn't want people to look at him as an immigrant. He wanted to be seen as an American, like everyone else. So Steve found work in business. He actually had a job at Mattel. I know, I was like, was he making Barbies? What was he doing? And he owned a couple of gas stations. He was doing okay. He was a pretty smart businessman here. I freaking roll because we hear this all the freaking time. He wanted to be the #1 business guy in America. He wanted to be the richest of rich. The American dream. It's all about being fucking rich and #1. It's like, God, what happened to simple, realistic dreams? I want to fly a kite. When was the last time you flew a kite? What happened to those dreams? Bring them back. Steve decides to get into the nightclub business. And in 1975, he ends up buying a business that was struggling in Los Angeles. It was called Destiny 2. Destiny 2 was not doing well, and also it really wasn't in a great part of Los Angeles. So unsure why he made this move, but he did. Steve thought that adding a bunch of unique shows would help draw more people to Destiny 2. So pretty soon, this club is doing anything and everything you can think of, okay? They've got dinner theater, magic shows, women's mud wrestling. Hot, right? I hate those. You ever see those? It's like women mud wrestling or wrestling in Jello. What is that? What's that fantasy? What is that? What is that? Turns out the whole mud wrestling thing, though, it literally was a mess, and it took forever to get the floor of the club clean, So it was like, okay, that's probably not a good idea. It was fun to watch. I liked watching those boobies bounce, but it's too much cleanup. This is when Steve's realizing, this still isn't the vibe I'm going for. But perfect timing. Steve gets really lucky. He meets a club promoter. His name is Paul Snider. Not our Paul, this is a different Paul. Paul had just moved to Los Angeles from Canada, and just like Steve, he also really wanted to make a name for himself in America. According to everyone who knew him, Paul was very bold and brash. He was flashy. He was described as, quote, animated, crazy, obnoxious, end quote. He wore fur coats and big jewel-encrusted necklaces. He was that guy. You see, back when Paul was in Canada, he had seen some male strip shows popping up at a local gay club, and he thought it was there's something there. So when he came to America, he saw what was going on at Steve's club, and Paul came to Steve with an idea. He's like, hey, back in Canada, I saw some like shit where like guys were like getting naked and like stripping and stuff. Like, what if we did that? But not gay. It would be men dancing for women. Huh? So Paul tells Steve, look, male stripping is going to be like the next big thing. You should have one night at the club dedicated to male stripping for women. Just trust me on this. Steve, he was out of ideas. So he's like, oh, okay, I'm down. Nothing else is working. So in 1979, Steve and Paul put their heads together and decided to rename Destiny to Chippendales. If you're like me, you're like, why'd they name male strippers after Chippendale? You know? Well, actually, Bailey, you are wrong on that. I guess the name Chippendales actually comes from a style of furniture. Yeah, not even like erotic. And this was the kind of furniture that was in the original club that Steve took over. Now, I guess Chippendale furniture was known for being sturdy and long-lasting. You can plop right on it. And that's as much as I could think. I don't know. They thought this would give their brand a touch of class and sophistication. Chippendales became known as the first ever male strip club catering to a female audience. Well, that's what they claimed. But to be fair, it's completely untrue. Because look, fact check, there was actually a place called Sugar Shack. Yeah, and they were first. Over in Wisconsin, a place called the Sugar Shack had opened 14 years earlier in 1965. It was run by a former Playboy bunny named Dana Montana. So Dana was a total pioneer in the strip club community. She had male strippers dancing on stage at the Sugar Shack years before Chippendales even existed. So it was like, okay, that's cute, but I've been doing it first. Just want to give some credit where credit is due. Sugar Shack, Dana Montana, I see you, girl. Icon. So the Sugar Shack is actually still around to this day, as of right now. It's in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. The difference here was that the Sugar Shack remained like a local business. In Chippendales, they didn't want to be a local business. They wanted to take over the world. Right from the start, Chippendales was at the right place at the right time. Los Angeles in the 70s. It's a sex-forward time, and porn is on the rise in a very big way. There were movies that were coming out, like Deep Throat, which turned out to be like a huge hit. And during this time in the 70s, it was considered like the golden age of porn. So, seeing male strippers was like the perfect combination of something sexy and edgy that was also in a safe, controlled environment for normal people, you know? So nothing too crazy could happen. So once the doors opened to Chippendales, the ladies just flooded in. In the beginning, the dancers had costumes. They had a very distinct costume. They wear those little like wrist cuffs, the collar, the bow tie. It's classic. If you're watching on YouTube, Paul and Rob, their outfits were inspired by the classic Chippendales look. Love it, you guys. You look so good.